Hey, it's JD with Wildwood. I happen to have access to Google Gemini with deep research, which will cost you $20 a month. And I have OpenAI O3 with deep research, which will cost you $200 a month. And I have a comparison between the two of them. I'm going to cut right to the chase for everyone who doesn't want to sit through this whole video. Unfortunately, OpenAI is the clear winner here. I was hoping that they would be pretty similar, but after you read their papers in conclusion, the OpenAI response, the summary, the paper is much, much better. It's a far superior service. The results weren't even comparable. And then when you consider the cost, it's like, it doesn't really matter that one's $200 and one's $20 because the one that's $20, in my opinion, the output was worth $0. Gemini is going to get better. I'm sure that they'll make a lot of improvements, but as of right now, it misses the mark on the most basic things. Now, just a little bit about the prompt I gave it. I had this prompt that I had used a while ago, and then I just decided to tack on a whole lot more questions to it, just to kind of make it as dense as possible. But I also knew that there was an answer because I've done some of the research myself, and the main focus was just to investigate whether there are companies now that are more profitable today than they were, say, 20 years ago, and have the same or fewer employees than they did 20 years ago. So somehow they're more profitable with less people. It's a pretty rare thing, but in some specific sectors, specifically energy, it's actually reasonably common. In most sectors, it is not common, but in energy, and then some technology sectors where things have gotten just a lot more efficient in certain manufacturing areas. So I knew the answers to this question, and I asked it, knowing that it's particularly tricky. And I know there's some specific companies out there like ExxonMobil, and it found it. And OpenAI found it. Gemini did a pretty mediocre job of finding anything relevant, in my opinion. So here's the full prompt. You can hit pause if you want to read the whole thing. One of the key parts of the prompt, though, was essentially find the companies that have fewer employees than they did in the past and have greater profit. And then I gave demarcations of 10, 20, 30, and 40 years. And OpenAI did really good. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Hopefully I'll keep doing these performance gradings. And if it was a really hard grading scale where a world-class researcher was a 10 out of 10, I'd put this at a 7 out of 10, maybe 6, but very good. If it was honestly a college paper, a lot of people would probably get like a B, maybe an A minus. Considering it does it in, I think, sub 10 minutes for this one, pretty good. And it's only going to get better. And the fact that it answered the question and did a pretty good job, I'm very happy with it. The key parts where it understands the question, it seems to be very accurate, and it delivers concise conclusions. It's a very concise writing style, concise when it answers my questions. The key areas for improvement for O3 with deep research would be the visuals stink. Even the way it lays it out, it's not good. No charts, no tables, no graphs, no photos, no AI illustrations. I made this presentation on Gamma. Gamma does this really well. OpenAI does this really poorly. So for some reason, I wrote easy export to Word online docx. No, I meant to say not easy export. It was very hard to have it get it to a Word file or docx or PDF. It needs to be easy. It should be, you give me this report, I should be able to then take it and put it to a place where I'm able to edit it and make use of it. Either OpenAI needs to finish their partnership with Microsoft so that we can take it to Office 365 online, or develop their own way of editing and refining it on their own software, because it just was not good in that regard. And there were a few potential little nuggets it gave me that I thought could be interesting whys to explore further to answer the question. And that's kind of a longer discussion. But overall, it did a really good job answering the question. There were a few little nuggets I thought it could have expanded on, but overall, it did a really good job. But most important thing to improve on for the team is visuals and that ability to export and make this report usable for the people that are actually going to run it. Like we're paying $200 a month. I actually tried they have a little copy icon and I pasted it into a Google Doc. It did not paste correctly. A bunch of words got deleted in letters and I had them manually selected and for some reason that worked. So that's very important for me. As I mentioned, it excels at data analysis, concise output, and accuracy. It seemed to be very accurate and found very specific examples that met my trends, and it provided me with very specific numerical financial data. Like this ExxonMobil analysis, direct and to the point. They make more money. They have fewer employees. And it also gave me ExxonMobil's numbers for a greater period too, which were even more interesting in that they were even more, even fewer employees and a greater profit margin. So that was very interesting. And here's an example here of a nice quote that it provided me. It's really smart. It's really, really good. And then like it gave me these industry trends to sort of showcase specific sectors, how the technology is changing, which companies are sort of leading that edge. Overall, really good. Here's some quotes if you want to read them that are just, I thought were really, really smart. Like this part about Netflix, about how they're a winner take most and how some used to be there, unfortunately, were many companies in a given sector, and then through integration, mergers, now we have a winner-take-most scenario where companies are getting so big and so efficient and have economies of scale that they're now able to dominate. And what we see here is with Google Gemini, unfortunately, it's a 3 out of 10. I give it. Nice job with presentation. Nice job with content quality. And one thing that I will note here is I'm a little bit more lenient on what I think of as a source. I did notice that OpenAI was sourcing certain magazines and maybe we'll call them blogs that I think are good sources of information, but I could see your average college professor or someone you're writing a market research paper for not wanting that in their sources. Whereas Google seemed to be very discerning in their sources, but they ended up not really answering any questions, maybe because they were too discerning and they didn't have access to enough information. Maybe eventually we'll have to get credentials or pay more money and they'll have access to certain amounts of financial information. They didn't seem to have access to it because they didn't really answer my questions. A lot of fluff here, a lot of unrelated, but true and interesting fluff. I'll get to that in a second. Again, areas of improvement, didn't understand the question. Focus, lots of tangents, like just all over the place. The visuals, they were better than ChatGPT's, which was basically none. But still, by the time they even have a button to send it to Google Docs. You click the button, you do it, but they still don't look very good. Still pretty unimpressive. And then relevance, like just a lot of irrelevant things. And then the strengths were, it looks better, like particularly with the sources. They have footnotes. It's really well organized. And when you're running it, it looks like, wow, this is going to be amazing. And then you read it and it's not, but it looks really good. And the Google Docs and Google Sheets functionality is very nice. It should be better, though. It should be more visually interesting, but it's at least better than OpenAI's. Here's one that is a quote I took from it. Tracking changes in employee count can be done through various strategies, including setting up Google Alerts, a little plug for their product, following industry reports, and using LinkedIn Insights. And there's a little footnote for you to go check it. These methods can provide valuable insights into employment trends within specific companies and industries. Totally unnecessary information to answer my question. Employee engagement is another important factor contributing to company success. Engaged employees are more productive, have lower absentee rates, and provide better customer service. Blah, blah, blah. Totally unrelated. I mean, kind of like very much a loose tangent related, but this is not good. So in our overall analysis, O3, accurate, concise, insightful, directly answers questions, but no visual elements, and the exports stink because there are none. Gemini, it looks nice. It's got lots of good sources, and it has them really well laid out. And it seems, even though it has like dozens of sources, it seems to mostly use the best ones. I need to do probably another 20 queries and then maybe do a check and minus for each particular service. But right now, not looking good. Maybe this was just an anomaly. Maybe someone at the Google team will reach out and give me some pointers. Maybe my prompt was too long, maybe too convoluted, possible. Maybe I tried to make it too hard. But overall, my conclusion is it's a far superior service. Even if Gemini's cheaper, it's not worth $20 for this. It might be good at other things. In fact, Gemini on the whole is pretty good. But comparatively, I wouldn't trust this for doing market research or any other important task you have set out for yourself. So hopefully you found this conclusion valuable. Like and subscribe. I'm going to do a bunch more of these. It cost me $200, so I better get used to this. And if there's a prompt you want me to run through O3 or Gemini, post it down below and I will try my best to run it for you.